According to an allegation, the FBI seized $86 million in cash, a bunch of expensive jewelry, and did so without legally having clearance. Let's put up the pictures full mess. I'm going to give you the allegation, the background, and the foreground. So this is in Beverly Hills, California. An FBI raid in which tens of millions in cash, jewelry, and other valuables were seized. This was from a security box. Lenders, they're being criticized as engaging in egregious civil asset forfeiture after those lenders were never charged with a crime at all. We've talked about this a few times on the show. The actual seizure happened at a safety deposit box business called U.S. Private Vaults. This was March 2021. After securing a warrant from a judge, the FBI took roughly $86 million in actual cash, as well as Cartier bracelets, Rolex watches. The business owners ended up pleading guilty to money laundering. However, the safe deposit box holders, who were patrons of the business, were never accused nor charged with the crime, per Fox News. Now, we all understand how a safety deposit box works. There's a company that owns the physical structure. That company is in charge of maintaining things like security of the product, sometimes the temperature requirements of the product, and entry to the product, right? Very simple. That product can be cash, it can be expensive jewelry, it can be something that is sentimental to you. That doesn't mean the facility owns it. They are there to hold it. That's the nature of the business, right? Additionally, the warrant agent secured only authorized the seizure of business computers, money counters, and surveillance equipment. The FBI never let the judge in on their plans to take the money or other belongings worth more than $5,000. So now several individuals are accusing the agency of putting the cart well before the horse, seizing their valuables without probable cause. They have filed a class action lawsuit against the federal agency to retrieve their property. I'm going to get into the background of this in just a minute as far as civil asset forfeiture. But think about how simple this actually is. This is simple. That's the reason the judge did not sign off on them seizing the material like watches or money or cashier's checks, right? Because the judge knows the people you're investigating, they don't own these things. The people who do business with them should not be subjected to having their things taken. This is not complex law here. The judge was correct on scope of warrant, all right? There's more. Civil asset forfeiture allows law enforcement to take property, to take cash, but they have to believe it is connected to an actual crime, leaving the property owners responsible for proving in court that their belongings have no criminal links. Agents seized around 1,400 deposit boxes used by individuals that federal court documents characterize as unsavory characters to store criminal proceeds. However, the warrant that the judge signed, okay, this is how it works. The warrant that the judge signed only allowed agents to seize safety deposit boxes and keys to inspect the contents of the boxes in an effort to identify their owners so that they can claim their property. That warrant did not authorize a criminal search or seizure of contents of safety deposit boxes. Despite that, a federal judge ruled that agents did not exceed the warrant's parameters. This is completely the wrong ruling, in my opinion. Did not exceed the warrant's parameters, even though attorneys for the plaintiffs demonstrated the government, quote, had a dual motive in inventorying and the contents of each deposit box. The case was heard in an appeals court this week, and a panel is expected to make a ruling in a few months. We hope they make the right one. The Institute for Justice reports that in the 2 years since the raid, some of the plaintiffs' belongings have been returned to them, but not everything is accounted for. Attorneys argue that the government violated their clients' Fourth Amendment protection, that's right, from unreasonable search and seizure, and their Fifth Amendment protection from having property taken without compensation. And naturally, if you're going to take freedom of property in the United States of America, you have to engage in a process called due process. So based on some arguments that have been unsuccessful, based on some arguments, the entire doctrine of civil asset forfeiture is unconstitutional. It takes your property away without the benefit of due process, making it de facto a constitutional violation. That's an entirely different argument. But this was a simple one. All right. The judge signed the warrant based on normative law. However, it was executed based on an expansion of that law. Now, a judge panel will have to weigh in. Sharon, thoughts here?
This hustle has been going on since the beginning, okay, where they just do what they want to do. I really think that this is way fraudulent. I don't know if that's, a legal term that applies here, Dr. Richey, but I think sanctions should be involved. I don't know what laws they're going. Maybe they're going by laws from Moscow or something.
Right.
But you need to give people due process here. But think about all the people they haven't been doing this for.
Yeah. And we highlighted a story not too long ago in Atlanta where we had another federal agency partnering with local police doing the same thing to actual passengers getting on an airplane and not returning their money, even though there was no arrest made. Okay, we'll stay on top of it, report updates as they come.